Hi, I'm Ksenia and welcome to this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here to tell you all the news in the astro skies for this week. Thanks for joining me. And a special thank you to Patrice, who has done the beautiful artwork that you see in the intro to this video. It was a gift for my birthday. I am so grateful. I want to use it always because it is stunning. Thank you, Patrice. I love you, my friend. I also want to welcome any new subscribers here to my channel. Thank you for joining me. You are so welcome here. We are a loving community where we can share our thoughts about astrology, where we can learn from each other, and feel free to comment and have conversation in the comments section of this video. And a big welcome too to my old friends who have been with me for a number of years now. It is lovely to be with you again. So thanks for joining me. Now, if you are after any astro services, if you're interested in any of my products or my webinars, or if you want to check out the new healers that I have working with me on my website, do head over to www.guidingstar.astrology.com and you'll find all the info there. The link is in the description below. So what's happening in this week's astral skies? Well, it is quite an interesting one, as it always is. We've got some dates. You might want to note these down. We're looking at the 6th of August when Venus will be conjunct with the North Node and the fixed star Betelgeuse. The fixed stars are making a big impact in this week's astro weather. We also have on the 8th of August Venus moving into Cancer, and she's going to be there for a little while, so it's worth knowing what she's going to bring us. And then we're going to look at the 9th of August, and on this day we're going to be seeing the Moon and Mars make a conjunction in the sky with the fixed star Acamar, and so this is going to be very powerful for us as well, worth noting. So without further ado, let's jump on in. We're going to check out, first of all, Venus conjunct with the North Node. So down here in the sign of Gemini, we have the North Node that's currently transiting, and the North Node moves backwards, if you like, through the horoscope, whereas Venus is moving forwards. And so the North Node is here in the latter degrees of Gemini. Venus, who has moved, she's done her retrograde period and she's sort of gone backwards and forwards here in Gemini over the course of this year, is now coming to the end of her trip through the sign of Gemini, and she's made a conjunction, or she will be making a conjunction on this day with Venus, with the North Node. And we've got the fixed star, I'll just do a symbol of it, Betelgeuse, at the same degree. So I'll talk about what Betelgeuse represents in a minute, but I wanted to show you where we're at here and what's going on. So we're going to get lots more Venus energy on this day. Quite an exciting day for those of us who love Venus energy. What is Venus energy? It is love. It is it's not so much romance, but it's more relationship and connection and intimacy and sensuality, all these nice things that we really enjoy. It's pleasures. So therefore, romance comes under the definition of pleasure if you enjoy a bit of romance. It's also money. Venus is the lesser benefic planet, so she has a connotation to money and having money. To be able to buy the pleasures of life, to be able to buy food, clothing, shelter as well, because Venus has connection to anything that is tangible, anything you can touch, anything you can taste, anything you can see, smell, or hear. So Venus governs the 5 senses, and of course we can touch our clothes and our jewelry, we can, smell the flowers or a perfume or something. Like anything tangible is usually linked to Venus. So we can expect we're going to have the opportunity to enjoy these Venusian things on this day. And why is that? Because the North Node makes us hunger for more of whatever it touches. We become a bit insatiable about it. We want it in our lives. And we're greedy. Now, those of you, I'm sure, who follow astrology regularly will know the mythology of the North and South nodes of the moon. Here they are. They're sitting opposite one another. I am preparing a video on what it means to have a nodal inversion and a nodal return. Do keep an eye out for that coming out soon. But the South Node is what we're releasing and purging and letting go of, because the mythology is that it is the tail of a dragon where we excrete and remove and dissolve and get rid of things. The North Node is the opposite. It's the head of the dragon, and it's just constantly eating, insatiable, more. So when Venus connects with the North Node, what do we get? More Venus things. Give me more. I want to have, more money. I want more food. I want more pleasurable experiences. Bring. Come on, So we'll probably be a bit hungry for these things on this day. Watch out for people being very obsessive, though, about Venus things, because the North Node can bring obsession. Obsessive about money, obsessive about love, obsessive about a relationship or a partnership, or, you know, they've got their eye on some fabulous piece of jewelry and they're just obsessing about it. So watch out for being too obsessed about Venusian things too on this day, but that just comes with the nature of the North Node that's hungry, that craves for more and more and more. Now, Venus represents our decision-making ability as well. And the North Node wants excitement. You know, it's a bit risky. It likes to sort of have a bit of fun, you know, and wants sort of the edgy experience. And so that means when Venus and the North Node get together, you run the risk of making bad choices and bad decisions in life. We'll use the term bad. There is shadow and light and everything. But you run the risk of making sort of choices based on, well, this is exciting, this is thrilling, I'm going to sort of take that risk, and it may not be the best choice for you. Venus is decision making, and the North Node represents that risk taking. It's also toxicity is represented by the North Node as well. So your decision making can actually lead to a toxic circumstance or be a toxic decision. So do sort of step back on this day, take a breath, have a think. You know, what are going to be the consequences of making this decision before you jump right in, okay? Do I really want this drama in my life? Do I want this upheaval? Do I want this chaos and, you know, excitement in my life at the expense of calm and stability and security? So do think twice about any big decisions on this day. You can expect to enjoy the exotic and the taboo a little more, especially in the areas that have to do with love. Venus is love, sensuality. You might like to sort of get into a bit of, you know, exotic sex or, you know, anything that's, you know, like you might buy the Kama Sutra and enjoy going through all the particular moves, not all in the one day unless you're really keen, but the Kama Sutra is what we would consider in the Western world, and I know most of my viewers come from the Western areas, so we might buy the Kama Sutra. It is an exotic sex manual, and there you go. Venus, love, sex, tantra, sensuality, really, not so much sex, but sensuality. And here we go with something exotic. So have fun if that's on the agenda for you guys. But Venus also rules things like food and clothing and art and culture, refined culture. So it might be that you're drawn to something a bit exotic, a bit taboo with regard to sort of culture or art. Maybe even, you know, something exotic or taboo with regard to food, you know. You go and try frog's legs because you've never tried frog's legs before, or, you know, not that I'm into that sort of thing, but you go and try something a bit exotic, a bit taboo, a bit somewhere you wouldn't really go. But again, you've got to watch out for any food or drink on this day that you're trying out something different, something exotic, maybe a new curry you've never tried before or something. You've got to watch out for toxicity because the North Node represents toxicity and Venus represents food and drink. So do be careful. It's fun to try the taboo. It's fun to try the exotic. Just watch out for toxicity. So what about Betelgeuse? What is the role of this classic fixed star here? And no, it's not some crazy, kooky, stripy pajama wearing guy from a film back in the 90s. No. We're looking at this amazing fixed star. I mean, this fixed star is just so big. It dwarfs everything in our solar system. It's a monster, the star Betelgeuse. And it's big, and so its influence can be very big. Obviously, it's as above, so below. And if something's very big, then we get big results from it. Although, think about Pluto. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but think about Pluto. A very small object, but it is very far away. And when something is far away, it moves so slowly that its energy builds up and becomes very influential upon us on the Earth. And that is why Pluto is so powerful, because it is so far away, it moves so slowly, it might be small, but its energy builds up and increases in strength because it's been, where is he? He's been sticking around this area for just, ages, years. Here he is. And the energy we're feeling in that area is intense because of the build-up. So imagine you're a fixed star. You're bigger than Ben-Hur. You're massive. And you're out there in the universe, and from our position on Earth, you barely move at all. In our lifetime, the fixed stars don't move that much. And so the energy buildup of this fixed star way out there that is so big and so slow moving from our vantage point on Earth, the power that these guys can pack a punch with is really quite amazing. So we have to consider the fixed stars. They do have an impact. Now, a theory that I have come across, which I'll call Roger's theory, is that the fixed stars and all the things out beyond the solar system, out in the galaxy, out to the ends of the universe, they kind of filter down, the energies filter down and come to us through the energy fields of the planets. So remember that our experience of Betelgeuse and its influence this week is going to come through the filter of Venus and the North Node and their energies. Okay? So this means like Venus gives an energy of intellect and leadership. It's an intellectual and a leadership star. So we might find that women rise up because Venus rules women. Women might rise up in positions of leadership, in positions of intellectual power, perhaps. During this, they're going to be seen for their leadership. They're going to be heard for their leadership under the influence of this big, massive fixed star Betelgeuse. Now, one thing that we might see a lot more of on this day and around this time as this energy builds is women taking leadership roles and speaking up in a very intellectual way about the roles of sex workers and those in those sorts of fields, or women who are not so much women who are exploited. I'm not talking about that, but women who, because they have to or because it's a choice that they've got to make in life to survive and to thrive, they go into the field of sex work. Now, the reason that is because, and it doesn't always play out in everyone's chart the same. If you've got Venus and the North Node in your chart, it doesn't mean you're going to be a sex worker. But one of the manifestations of this energy is people who work in those fields, okay? That is just one. There's many others. I'm not saying, that's the case. And there is no shame in the fact if that's what you do. I'm not trying to sort of make it out to be a bad thing. But I think we're going to see on this day a lot more activism or women speaking up or taking a forward step with regard to let's raise awareness about what these women are doing and about the lives they're living and, respecting them, allowing for them to be honored for what they bring to society and their contribution to society. Now, I don't want to get into a debate about that sort of thing here. Your personal moral perspective on this is not what I'm talking about at this time. What I'm talking about is the fact that we're going to see more discussion, more intellectual debate, more people stepping up and taking a sort of a forefront role in talking about these issues on and around this day. And I've already seen it building, quite frankly, in the online world, and I think we'll see it a bit more. So that's another thing that we see represented by the North Node and Venus conjunct with the powerful fixed star Betelgeuse. And then we're going to see Venus. So that was the 6th of August, and then on the 8th of August, 2 days later, in goes Venus into the sign of Cancer. And Venus is going to remain in the sign of Cancer until the 6th of September. So we've got roughly a month of Venus in Cancer energy to enjoy. Now, this is going to be refreshing. And the reason it's going to be refreshing is because Venus has been in Gemini for eons. She has been hanging around in Gemini for just months. And so now we're going to get a breather. Not that Gemini's anything to, not enjoy. It's bright, it's breezy, it's, curious, and it's lovely energy, Gemini. But it's going to move into Cancer and we'll get a shift in tone. And this will be a welcome shift in tone because it'll be different. We're a bit tired of the same old kind of thing. So here in Cancer, what can we expect? What will be the outcome? Well, it's going to be a time for society and for us as individuals to create safe space, because Cancer is a very protective energy. It wants to protect both ourselves. Think about the symbol of Cancer. It's a little crab and it's got a hard shell on it, and it might be tough on the outside, but inside it's quite soft and tender, and it is wanting to protect itself. But also Cancer has this energy of wanting to protect others as well. So we will be creating safe space over this month to be able to, give room for people to be vulnerable and to experience compassion. beautiful energy of Venus in Cancer. Now, yes, I know according to some traditions that Venus is debilitated in Cancer. That's correct. But we are looking not so much at the debilitation here, but at the energetic tone of what this is going to bring us as a collective. When something is debilitated, essentially it means that the planet doesn't have as much energy or oomph as it would have in a sign where it's exalted or where it's at home. So essentially Venus here in Cancer, it doesn't have quite enough oomph to give what it needs to areas of love and romance and pleasure and food and clothing. It's just not quite as powerful. So it doesn't mean that we're not going to experience these things though. Venus in Cancer, a time to create safe space, a time to protect and care and nurture for the vulnerable, and to experience sort of compassion both for ourselves and compassion for people in our circle and sphere as well, and in the whole world for that matter too. And don't we really need this energy? Don't we really need this right now? Venus in Cancer energy can give us more of a delight in our own solitude, in being at home. Cancer is the energy of home. So we might be finding that we really love just being home. And where I live in Australia, things are in lockdown, and Australia's really, like, we've had a second wave of coronavirus that has come with our winter season, as I predicted a few months back in my astrological report. And because of this, we're all in lockdown again, second round of that. And a lot of people aren't coping very well with it. But I think once Venus moves into Cancer, we will start enjoying our solitude more. It will feel pleasant to us to be home in our home spaces. A lot of us are able to work from home. That's a gift and that's a blessing. I know there's many people who cannot, and you know, my heart aches for the plight of people in Australia. We have been blessed to get a lot of financial support for our journey, but during this time. But back to the energy of Venus in Cancer. We will have a lot more enjoyment of being in solitude, enjoyment of being in our home. Venus is pleasure, and we're going to find pleasure in our home. Sorry to reiterate that point. So Cancer is a very much an energy of imagination as well. It's daydreamy, it's fanciful, and you know, people who have high levels of Cancer in their chart are often very good fantasy writers, or you know, they write great stories, and their imagination is quite highly attuned because it's a water sign, and that's just the way water signs roll, you know. So you might be able to really indulge your mind in some sort of imaginative process when Venus is here for the next month. And, you know, your creativity is going to be a source of healing for you when Venus is in Cancer. There'll be some opportunities for therapy available to you through creative expression, because Cancer is this imaginative sign, and Venus is art and being artistic. So those artistic endeavors will feel very comforting for you during this sojourn of Venus through Cancer. Take the time to enjoy that if you have the time to enjoy whatever artistic endeavors or creative, imaginative endeavors that you are drawn to. They'll be a blessing for you. They'll be very cathartic and therapeutic for you. Get into nature where you can as well. Now that is hard for people in Australia who are in lockdown to do, unfortunately. Especially if you like to be in nature alone without people around you everywhere. But if you can get out in nature, it is a great time to ground yourself, because Cancer is the energy of the earth. In the horoscope, it represents land, properties, homes, you know, the roots, where our metaphoric histories go down deep, but also the roots going into the earth. Anything like gardening, farming, they're all seen from the sign of Cancer, and sometimes the sign of Taurus as well. So get into nature, get out in the garden, get your hands in the dirt, walk barefoot on the grass, or lie on the lawn under the sun or something, and just be close to the earth, because doing so and allowing yourself sort of contemplative time or relaxing time in connection with nature, in connection with the earth, is actually going to really balance your emotional state right now. And we could all use a bit of that. The earth is going through some big changes, big upheavals. The collective consciousness is being reborn into a higher level, and it is time to ground ourselves in that process. Bit of a warning, Venus in Cancer can make you feel like you need to be very tough in love. You know, I'm stoic, I'm enduring, because remember that protective shell on the little crab, the symbol of Cancer. I must be tough, you know. But inside, we feel a bit soft and mushy, and we might feel a bit sad inside. So because of the vulnerability of this Cancer energy, and Venus here representing love, we might feel like we need to protect ourselves in love during this month. We might feel that we need to put on a tough exterior regarding some love relationship or love circumstance. We might feel as a collective that, we need to be stoic, but within we're going to feel very vulnerable, okay? So because everybody is going to be feeling this energy, do be kind, do be compassionate to people, because we're all feeling a little bit vulnerable with Venus in Cancer, even when we put on that tough, I can do this exterior. Another thing to be wary of is being a bit moody. Now, I hate that Cancer energy is always, oh, they're moody. You know, people sort of do their memes and all that silly stuff, saying, oh, Cancer's just moody and, you know, whatever. It's not the case. It's the fact is they're very sensitive, and they are receptive. If you have strong Cancer energy, you will be receptive to the energies around you. And if somebody is upset, or, you know, if you've been carrying too much of a burden or having to protect yourself with your little shell too much, then it can cause, you know, a bit of a in your emotions. So be very wary of perhaps going into that energy of feeling a bit moody, feeling a bit pouty, or giving the silent treatment to lovers or to family under this time. And it's not because you're naturally a moody person if you've got Cancer energy or otherwise. It's just that there's a lot of sensitivity now, and that can cause those sort of fluctuations in our temperament, in our emotional state. Cancer is our emotions, okay? So just be very wary of that. Maybe something that you could do to overcome that would be to channel that energy into more love and affection for your lovers, for your partners, or channel more love and affection into nurturing someone or something, because that's what Cancer energy is, to nurture something. Now, that doesn't always mean children, and I repeat this so many times in a day. Cancer energy is nurturing, but nurturing is not just about holding the baby in your arms. You can nurture a business, you can nurture a garden, you can nurture a pet, you can nurture a friendship. You can, like, it doesn't matter what it is. The energy of nurturing can go to any particular theme that you want it to. And what nurturing is taking something from its infancy, say a brand new friendship, and you nurture it through till that person becomes your best friend for life. That's nurturance, going from infancy of something to fullness, starting a garden from a bare paddock and turning it into the most botanical wonderland you've ever seen. That is nurturing something from beginning to end. And that's what Cancer is brilliant at. So nurture your lovers, nurture your children, nurture your family, your friends, your garden, your home. Nurture things with love and pleasure. Nurture things with enjoyment and relaxation. Venus is all these things. So nurture your life with those Venusian elements and watch how life blossoms for you during this month. Nurturance also allows us to feel secure in love, and don't we all want to feel that? We want to know what it's like to feel secure in love, that things are rock solid. So nurturance allows us to do that when we give nurturance and also when we receive it. So one thing that I want to point out about Cancer that is a very strong Cancer trait is their tendency to cling very tightly to things. I mean, think about the little pincers on a crab. If they nip you on the beach, you've got a little crab hanging off you until you yank it off and rip it off, and probably rip your skin at the same time. So Cancer is like that. If it finds something it wants to be devoted to, it will cling on. And I want to encourage you at this time, be a bit more flexible. Allow yourself to let go of what you don't need anymore, okay? Avoid being attached to the past under this next month's energy, and especially avoid being attached to past lovers, Venus lovers. Try and avoid clinging on to past loves under this energy. Let it go. appreciate the present moment. Don't get lost in the past thinking about a lover. Oh, if they would only come back in my life, then I would be happy. Oh, what have I done? I should go and get back together with that boyfriend that I broke up with 2 years ago. No, be present. Cancer does have connections to our heritage and the past and where we've come from and what we've been through and our roots and our lineage. Cancer has a connection to those things, but I want to encourage you to be present focused rather than longing for, in this case, past love with Venus. Don't give in to that nostalgia if you can, because it won't do you much good in the long run. You may be, because Venus rules money, you might be feeling frugal for the next month and want to save some money, want to, make sure that there's, plenty in the wallet. But if money is to be spent, it's going to be spent on things in the home, I feel. Things that have to do with the domestic life, new kitchen appliance or some, carpet for the living room, or maybe a rug or a, curtain or something like that you need. That's where you might find money being directed towards the home environment. And that's par for the course when we are spending a lot of time in our home. We want to beautify it. We want to make it lovely. Venus in Cancer will give us the impetus to do that. So that's where we might be spending money. Cancer is also anyone who feels like family. That can be our friends, that can be our actual blood family, and we will want to perhaps spend some money on our friendships and on our family and people who are in our very close little community that we have. And so moving on to what's unfolding on the 9th of August, which is the conjunction of the Moon and Mars and the fixed star Acamar. Here he is here. And here's Mars and the Moon in Aries. Boom, all lined up together. Same kind of deal as I was talking about with the fixed star Betelgeuse. Because Acamar is a big star sitting out there, moving very slowly, we feel this energy when it's activated by something like this. A strong connection of planets, and the Moon and Mars are making this connection. So what is this going to then manifest in our actual personal lives? Well, it might be hasty emotions. The Moon is emotions in the sign of Aries, which is all about quick, let's get going, let's start it, let's get it happening. And it's conjunct Mars, which is a fast energy. It wants to sprint, it wants to get there, it wants to go. It wants to be there right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but right now it wants to get there. And so our emotions might be very hasty and quick. Our emotional reactions might just bang, it's like someone struck a match and we're on fire. The energy is fast and quick regarding our emotional state. The Moon represents our instincts as well. So when this is activated by all this energy, our instinctive actions might be very in the moment. And we might have actually quite on the money instinctual responses to circumstances. The Moon is intuition and Mars is quick. So our intuition might be activated very quickly under this energy too, which is a positive. Our emotions, Moon and Mars, warrior, fighting for something, being a soldier, we might find that we feel we've got to fight for something under this energy, that we need to get out and do our sort of whatever activism, although Mars, not necessarily activism, Mars is more fighting, so it might be that we write a big placard and go on a big protest and use our words and our energy, and we're putting it out there and chanting and, being seen. Or that we might, be in a situation with a person, might be actually a sort of the mother energy in your life, or a maternal figure, or an older woman, and there might be a bit of argy-bargy or angst or something like that goes down, because Mars is to fight, Mars is to be aggressive, Mars is to get angry. So we might find that happens around the 9th as well. Be careful of that one. Now, as I said, the Moon rules mother figures and older women, but it does have connections to sort of mature women in general. And we might find under this energy, if we're a woman, particularly a woman sort of over, the mid-20s, sort of beyond 28. If we're a woman who's older than roughly around 28, then we might find under this energy on this day that we are taking on the more masculine role in some facet of our lives. Like we are, instead of being receptive, as is the nature of the feminine energy. We actually are more initiatory under this energy, or we're starting something, or we're thinking we've got to be the provider, or we've got to support the whole family, or we've got to be the authoritarian kind of person rather than the nurturer under this energy. So just be aware that it's only going to be for a blip, and then the moon will move on, but that can be an energy that is felt at this time with the moon conjunct Mars. And if you find yourself going into that, if you're a woman and you find yourself going into that more masculine expression of, I have to carry the whole thing myself, and I have to be the provider, and I have to initiate, and I have to be the one who starts things rather than the one who receives, stop, pull up and say, I want my feminine receptivity to come through. So I'll pare back a bit. Yeah, look, I might need to make a bit of extra money to support the family, but I want my partner to show up and help in that situation as well. I don't have to carry it all on my shoulders. I am the goddess in my life, if we're a woman, not the hero. Allow your man to be the warrior for you. Even though you might be inclined to go out and be Wonder Woman, allow space for the man in your life on this day, especially, to be the hero for you, and you be the goddess. So that's one thing to be aware of under this energy also. The moon represents our domestic environment, and Mars is aggression. So there can be some fights in your domestic environment, or some disagreements, or some heated conversations that happen at home in the domestic environment, obviously, and power struggles too. Mars is personal power, the power of the individual, and so there could be some power struggles related to what you individually want in life and what you want to individually see happen in your world. There is also, in the ancient Vedic system, very interestingly, Mars and the moon, when they're in a natal chart, can be a combination, or a wealth yoga, a combination for wealth. So on this day, it is possible that for some people, it will really depend what is being sort of activated by, trine, sextile, conjunction, and that sort of thing. But there is a potential for some, in the natal chart that is, for somebody, but there is the potential to receive some sort of wealth on this day, some sort of increase in prosperity and abundance on this day, due to the fact that this is a wealth combination. So that will be nice for some people. Fingers crossed for everyone. Mars rules real estate agents. The moon is properties and homes. For some people, they're going to want to go and arrange for the sale of their property on this day. Or it might prove lucrative to go and see a real estate agent. Maybe you've been looking for a house to buy. Maybe you've been looking for a house to rent. Go and see a real estate agent, because the combination of home, bricks and mortar home, land and property, meeting up with the energy of the real estate agent could be very much in your favor on this day. So we might feel like we need to protect ourselves, because again, it's not the Cancer energy of protection, it's the fighter warrior energy of Mars in Aries that might happen. And of course the moon is our feelings, and we're just like, no, I'm gonna, I'm Gandalf again. I used Gandalf in my illustrations last week. I'm Gandalf, and I, grab my sword, and they shall not pass, we are enacting that warrior energy of needing to protect ourselves. Moon is that mother protective energy. Mars is the warrior, and they shall not pass, So you might feel that you need to do that in your life about something. Maybe someone's been crossing boundaries with you, or giving you a hard time, or, just sending negative vibes your way. Well, imagine, put yourself a big sphere of protection, a force field around yourself, grab your Gandalf sword, and they will not pass, Do that energetically and give yourself that energy of protection, moon, and warrior. I will fight for myself and protect myself energy. Very beneficial. Now, okay. That's one thing. The final thing about Mars is, and moon conjunction, is that we can channel more energy into our dreams and goals under this influence. So if you've got a dream that you're trying to fulfill or an aspiration that you want to see manifest in the world, know that on this day you're going to have more drive, more get up and go, more oomph to put into whatever it is that you want to manifest. So dreams and goals get a lot more of a fuel injection, a rocket launch under this conjunction of Moon and Mars. Yay, very nice. And that happens once a month, by the way. I mean, this is not a rare conjunction. I just wanted to talk about it today, because Mars is going to be very influential in the coming months. So it was worth mentioning. Now, this energy happens once a month. So if you are looking to get a bit more rocket fuel into a dream or an aspiration that you have, and you want to maybe launch something or start something, then check out when Mars and the Moon are conjuncting each month and aim to do it around that time. Now, as I mentioned, the fixed star Acamar is actually playing into all this. It's connecting with Mars and the Moon. And Acamar is nobility. Acamar is good fortune. Acamar is receiving good advice. So again, back to the real estate agent, it might be a great day to go and get some advice from a real estate agent or a property developer or somebody who's selling land in some development or something like that. Really good day for that, to go and speak to one of those people, because you will receive good advice due to the influence of Acamar. Also, it's a great day for receiving good fortune from property, land, and real estate. Again, can definitely be an advantage there for you. And the energy of nobility, well, how does that play into things? Your real estate agent might be quite noble. They might be very refined, sophisticated kind of character. So, in fact, because of the energy of Acamar, I would suggest going to the top end real estate agents for what you need. The top of the line, not the shoddy dealer with his little dodgy, window front shop, but the top end, because this is the energy of nobility, the elite, the higher level. So I hope that helps if you're looking at selling some property. So I want to do a run around the chart now and have a look at where things fall for all signs in regard to Moon and Mars energy and what that's bringing to us. So where will we start? Well, last week we started with Libra. How about we start with Virgo this week? Give Virgos a first run. There we are. So Virgo, you have Mars Moon conjunction falling in your 8th house. And so this is the realm that we're going to explore. This is where you might receive some good advice from a noble person. So maybe this is a house of receiving other people's money. It's also a house of the stock market. So you might receive some good advice about how to invest money in the stock market, or in shares, or in insurance, or anything like that has to do with money that's handled by someone else, other people's money. So you might get some good financial advice about how to invest money, how to make money out of a crisis. The 8th house is crisis. And so go to some sort of, if you are looking for advice in that regard, go to somebody of a higher level, the more elite level, who can give you those sorts of pieces of advice. We might also feel like we need to protect ourselves in some way regarding 8th house things under this energy. And so that might mean we're protecting ourselves from some sort of criminal activity, and we might go and install a camera system around our home or something, or an intruder alarm. Not that we need to be paranoid, but we might feel the need to protect ourselves regarding home and regarding criminal activity, which is an 8th house thing. We might need to protect ourselves financially as well. Like we might have investments in the stock market, and we might think, I need to sort of sell those now, or make some changes, or do whatever. We might feel like we need to protect ourselves with regard to the stock market in some way also. We might be directing energy now into goals associated with the 8th house. That might be, you might be studying psychology, and you might decide that you want to be, you want to be a psychologist, and so you need to direct your energy into your pursuit of becoming a psychologist, which is an 8th house thing. 8th house other careers or goals and dreams might have to do with anything that is about transformation, might be flipping houses under this energy, and very well could be, the Moon is the home, Mars is building and construction in the 8th house of transformation and regeneration. So you might be looking at flipping a property, at upgrading a property, or, buying an old house that you can do up and live in. So that can be a big focus, regenerating some property, some land through building and construction. That might be where your goals and dreams are directed right now under this energy. It also might mean that you might have your energy directed to sort of maybe crisis management, and you might have some dreams and goals about helping people. A lot of people who are very compassionate and practical compassion, very Virgo quality, practical compassion, would be looking at, well, people are suffering right now. They're going through a crisis right now. I have a dream and goal to help people by doing X, Y, Z. You can put a lot of energy into that now. Setting up some new idea or venture or something. You've got what it takes to put energy into that if it's designed to help people through a crisis situation. Being a crisis manager is seen through the 8th house, and this energy might sort of propel you to be that for others. And finally, regarding this house, listen to your instincts. This is a house of higher energies as well. And sometimes that can be sort of the negative entities, but it also can be, the higher energy levels, the higher vibrational levels out there. We like to think of it out there, but it's actually all around us. And so trust your instincts that could very well be coming from divine influence, because of the 8th house involvement here for you guys as Virgo rising people. So if you feel goosebumps, running up and down your body, use it as a signal. If you think a thought, you get some instinct about something and it results in goosebumps, know that that's the higher energy telling you, yep, go with that instinct, trust it. So really tune into the higher energies, the sort of mystical realms, the high-level spiritual areas. You might like to do a spiritual practice or a ceremony or some sort of alternative, shamanic work. This is House of Shaman. So some sort of shamanic work might be very helpful and useful for you to help you get in touch with your instincts and really act upon them under this energy as well. All right, moving along, we're going to look at Libra rising, going second this week. This is putting the energy into your 7th house. Aries is opposite Libra, your rising sign. And you can also interpret the sun and moon sign if you would like to as well, but the rising sign is the most powerful. It's in the 7th house that you may be receiving some good advice from a very noble person during this week. So that might mean a counselor, a diplomat, somebody who is maybe a lawyer, a very much 7th house types of people, maybe a spouse or a partner or a business relationship where you get some good advice from someone who you esteem as being quite noble of character, maybe even a bit sophisticated as well in this house too. If you are receiving advice from a person who fits this description, know that the advice is going to be bang on. It's the energy of the fixed star Acamar coming through for you. Now, we will also feel like we need to protect ourselves in some way from perhaps the energies of the 7th house. So there might be a need to protect ourselves from a partner. Now, we often talk about the positive, and I'm a big one for looking at the upbeat side of things, but for many people, let's face it, there's a lot of domestic violence in the world. And if you're Libra this week, there might be a need to protect yourself from a partner who is violent, okay? So I'm not saying that's for every Libran person, but that might pan out for some of you, that will be the case. For others of us who aren't in those sorts of volatile situations as a Libra rising sun or moon, it might mean that we need to protect our marriage, protect our partnership, our business partnership. And so we can put that sphere of protection and the warrior energy and the protective energy of the moon around our marriage, around our committed partnership. And that might mean looking like, putting some serious investment into our relationship, or talking out a problem with one another, or listening to your instinct about a relationship, about a business partnership. We might feel that we have to protect this bond, this union, this contract even. There might be a need to protect some sort of a contract or agreement in some way as well under this energy. So we'll be also having lots of energy on this day, the 9th, to put into our goals and dreams that are to do with love, oh, not love so much, relationship, connection, commitment, diplomacy, being even cultural is seen by the seventh house. So, refined cultural experiences are seventh house things. So you might find that you have an aspiration to open an art gallery in your town, and you've got a lot of energy to put into making that happen on this day. You might find that you have a dream or a goal that has to do with what you want your marriage to look like, what you want your business partnerships to look like, about a contract situation that you're in. There's a vision or a goal or a dream to do with that, and you'll have a lot of energy to put into those seventh house things and making those goals come true. So maybe in protecting your marriage, you could create some sort of a, fun contract, because Mars is a playful energy. It likes games. You might create some sort of a fun contract with your partner. Like if you do the dishes for 7 days, I'll clean the toilet. And that's our contract. That's our verbal agreement that we've made. Let's direct our energy into that verbal agreement or contract with my partner. It could be something as simple as that. You direct your energy into perhaps making some sort of contractual agreement with a partner or a spouse or a business partner. Very seventh house energy. And I've used kind of silly examples there, but it could be in a little sense, or it could be really big. It all depends on how much oomph this energy is giving to your personal natal chart. So listen to your instincts under this energy, because it's going to relate to relationships, it's going to relate to cultural activities and endeavours, it's going to relate to contractual arrangements too, maybe even any court procedures as well. Listen to your instincts, trust your instincts, they won't steer you wrong on this day. All right, we're going to move now to Scorpio energy, and that is putting this energy of Mars conjunct the moon, conjunct Acamar, the fixed star, that's going into the sixth house for Scorpio people. I'll line that up. So if you are Scorpio rising, we'll put the rising, axis along there, rising sun or moon, then you can use this interpretation. So you will probably be receiving some good advice from a noble person at this time, and it might be to do with fixing a problem in your home, because Mars is to fix something, or sixth house is to fix something as well, but Mars is to fix something with tools, and moon is the energy of home. So you might get some advice from a high-end builder about how to fix a problem in your home under this energy. You might receive some good advice about how to resolve a conflict, or how to heal some health issues that you might have from someone with a high elite level of knowledge, which is the fixed star Acamar playing in, about those things, about finances, about health, about work and or conflict. So some high-level lawyer, some high-level doctor, some high-level financial advisor, you might receive some information on this day that can be very, very helpful, some advice. So it doesn't mean you have to go and book in and go and see a financial advisor. You might watch a YouTube video and get some really top-level financial advice from somebody on YouTube, Can happen that way too. You might feel like you need to protect yourself a little here if you are Scorpio, and this is the house of conflicts. So you guys particularly need to be very careful on this day, because our enemies are seen from the sixth house. There might be some sort of enemy like in some way attacking you, maybe through a court proceeding, or some sort of conflict with a neighbor or something like that, or a conflict with a maternal figure or an older woman that really just and you're going to feel like you want to protect yourself under this energy, and so put some protective practices in place. If you're not sure of some protective measures that you can take, send me an email through my contact form on my website. I have a fabulous ceremony for protection from bullies, protection from psychic attacks and that sort of thing, and I'm happy to share that with you. I'm happy to send out that ceremony to anybody who wants to put a ceremonial protection in place against those sorts of energies in their life. So we're going to feel like we want to do that around the 9th. There's also the energy of directing enthusiasm and momentum into our goals. that have to do with the sixth house under this energy. So you might have a goal of losing weight, or you might have a goal of starting a new diet, getting a new exercise routine, might have a goal of, reinvigorating your work life or something like that, or might even have a goal of acquiring a pet. Under this energy, you can actually put a lot of energy and enthusiasm into doing that. You'll be really revved up to go and start that new exercise routine at the gym, or you'll be really, really excited about getting that new pet, and you'll actively look online for who sells golden retrievers so that you can go buy some and you'll have a lot more momentum and energy to put into your goals that have to do with the sixth house. And finally, listen to your instincts that are sixth house oriented. If you're in a court case and things are in a precarious state, what's your heart telling you? On this day, your instincts will be pretty quick and usually fairly accurate too. So listen to your instinct about maybe a court case, or about some sort of financial opportunity to get out of debt. Listen to your instinct about some sort of opportunity you might have to heal some sort of health issue or health problem. So anything that's sort of a more challenging experience. The sixth house is one of the most difficult houses in the horoscope. It has to do with when we feel like we don't have enough money, don't have enough food, don't have enough clothing, don't have enough health. We're poor, or we're feeling enslaved. Like, these are the lower vibrational energies of the sixth house. And so trust your instincts about what you're feeling regarding those difficult, challenging aspects of life. And, the instinct that you receive, the instinctual opportunity to take action that you receive might get you out of that situation. You get maybe a creative idea comes your way. I mean, Mars and Aries are very entrepreneurial. You might get a creative idea that just instinctually comes to you on this day that's going to get you out of debt, that's going to get you out of the place of struggle that you've been in. So listen instinctually on this day. What is the universe trying to tell me? What is that energy that they're trying to sort of put into my life? Okay, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to act on it. Trust your instincts. Okay, Scorpio, thank you. We're going to sexy Sagittarius people. I love you. Okay, so Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun, or Sagittarius moon. Mostly rising will be the most impactfully felt. The energy of Mars conjunct the moon and conjunct the fixed star Acamar is falling in your fifth house. You might receive some advice from a high-level person, a noble person, regarding how to raise your children, how to deal with an issue with your children, or how to deal with something to do with your lover, or a romance situation that you find yourself in. So it might be that, you might have a high-level friend who's very knowledgeable about child raising, or it could be that you pick up a book written by Steve Biddulph or somebody who's a really good child psychologist, and it just transforms things for you in your relationship with your children. Or you might come across a YouTube video that helps you to deal with your love situation so much better. You might, under this energy, receive some very good advice from a noble person. Somebody noble of character, somebody who is sort of the more elite level of whatever it is that they practice. So that could happen for you. You might feel like you need to protect yourself in some way at this time. Now, that could be protection from lovers, protection from children. Now, that sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? But, sometimes some of us do end up in positions where we just need to protect our heart and our soul from maybe attacks from our children, or our children aren't being very nice, or our children are not being particularly grateful, and it really wounds us. And so we need to have some measures in place. This is the forewarned is forearmed. Measures in place about how to protect yourself from the hurts that you might receive from a lover or from children. And this happens to us all. You're not a bad person, or you're not hopeless at relationships because there's a day when your kids are all out of sorts and cranky and they lose their head at you. It doesn't mean that you're hopeless, but you do need to protect your heart from being wounded. This is the house that has to do with the heart as well. So put some protections in place so that you won't be wounded under this energy. Now, you'll also be directing your energy into your goals and dreams in this realm. And this is a great position to be directing energy into goals and dreams, because this is the house of your hobbies, your interests, and the things that give you joy, give you passion. You'll have a lot of energy for those things under this influence as well. So yeah, lovely, lovely energy for Sagittarius in that regard. You will enjoy. Okay, gorgeous Capricorn people. If you're a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising, and remember the rising is the most important, especially in whole sign astrology, which is what we're using here. This is the area, Mars conjunct the moon, conjunct fixed star Acamar here in the 4th house. This is the area that you will be receiving some good advice from a noble person around. So it might be that you see a real estate agent on this day or speak to a builder about doing some extension, but they're going to have some good advice. If they are a high level type of practitioner, you know, they're the top end real estate agent, or they're the top, you know, builder or architect or whatever that you need to do something on your home. No sort of lower level stuff when you've got the fixed star Acamar feeding into this energy. So you will get good advice from some sort of high level person to do with home or something, you know, property, land, development, even farming. If you're a farmer and you're watching this, and this is your energy, if you're Capricorn, then, you know, you'll get some good advice, maybe from an agronomist, maybe from somebody who really knows their stuff regarding the particular type of farming that you're doing. You might get some elite advice from a maternal figure, from maybe, you know, the maternal line. An older woman might be someone who comes to you with a great deal of wisdom and advice to give. So do be well attuned on this day to listen to what the elders in your feminine circle might be having to say to you, or other people of a high level in 4th house areas, which I've just described. You might also feel like you need to protect yourself in some way. So for some people, there'll be some wisdom coming from the maternal line potentially. For others, they might feel that they need to protect themselves from the maternal line. You know, Mars, Moon is a very protective combination. And so there might be this need to sort of, you know, you see your phone's ringing and it's your mum or your auntie or someone, and you're like, you know what, I just need to protect myself. Delete. No, don't answer the phone. You know, maybe you've copped an earful for months from a female relative, or somebody, a family member. It doesn't even have to be a female relative, somebody in your family, and you've copped an earful from them, and on this day you're just like, no, boundaries in place. You know, I'm putting some psychic protection around me. Delete that phone call. Not going to talk to them. Not going to even read that email, you know. Protect yourself on this day, because there is a vulnerability that's present. As I've said in the beginning, in the intro to this reading, a vulnerability with Venus moving into the sign of Cancer makes us feel a little bit more vulnerable. We might also feel like we need to protect our home too, under this energy. This is the house that has to do with home, and so you might feel like you need to go and buy a new lock for the door, or maybe, you know, your daughter wants a padlock on her, not a padlock, one of those locks that slip across, whatever they're called, on her bedroom door. You know, she just feels more comfortable if that's the case. Or you might be looking for an alarm system for your home. You want to protect your home under this energy, perhaps in some way. Or maybe it could just manifest that you want to protect your roses from aphids, or you know, your beautiful pot plants from slugs. So you go and buy some snail pellets or whatever to protect your garden from slugs. It could be as simple as that under this energy. And we're also going to be directing our energy into our goals that have to do with 4th house. We'll be quite energized about putting our energy into our goals regarding the 4th house. And that might be to have a beautiful garden, might be to have pot plants that aren't slug ridden. It might be to have a home that's safe and secure. That might be your goal. You want to feel safe in your home, you want to feel secure in your home, and so you put energy into going and buying that alarm system if it makes you feel safer. You might put energy into selling a property, or putting your house on the market under this energy as well. That could happen for you as well. You might put energy into sort of establishing a veggie garden, or doing some sort of grounded. The moon has connections to Cancer, which is that very earthy kind of energy. You might even put energy into connecting with family, having relationships with family. So on the one level, you might be deleting that phone call from someone you didn't want to talk to. On another level, you might be establishing, greater bonds with family, if that's a dream or a goal that you have, to have good family connection, good family bonding. So that's what we're seeing if you are Capricorn rising people. Now moving along to beautiful Aquarius people. And haven't you had an interesting week, Aquarius people, with the full moon in your sign? But for Aquarius rising people, this energy of Moon, Mars, and star Acamar are falling together conjunct in your third house. So this is where you might be receiving some good advice from somebody of a very noble character. Now, it could be a relative, it could be a sister or a brother, some sort of sibling. It could be maybe a co-worker or a teammate that gives you some very good advice, but they'll need to be somebody of noble character, not someone, you know, who's low, vibrating at a very low energy and sort of always bringing you down, always a pessimist, always a, you know, poor me and blah, blah, blah. No, it's got to be someone of a high elite level of character or actual position in society because of the conjunction with the fixed star Acamar. So somebody from those realms will probably come to you with a piece of advice worth listening to, wisdom to give you. It might be advice regarding third house things like how to set up a small business. Mars is entrepreneurial. For Aquarius rising people, with Mars doing a bit of a retrograde song and dance here for the rest of the year, you might actually get inspired to establish some sort of a new business because Mars is entrepreneurism, Aries is entrepreneurism too, and the third house has to do with establishing a new business or having a business of your own. So in that sense, very, very like lots of potential, and you could get some good advice around that. You might get some advice about writing a speech or writing sort of a script for a YouTube video or writing some sort of communication piece or dealing with social media. You might get some really good advice about third house things, which are communication, writing, speaking, even teaching as well. We might find that we need to protect ourselves. So on the one hand, we might get some really good advice from someone of noble character. On the other hand, there might be a need to protect ourselves if we're Aquarius rising from somebody who has been giving us a hard time. It's not just all of a sudden our sibling has showed up on our doorstep and they've suddenly turned into, you know, Frankenstein's monster or something, and we need to protect ourselves. But they will have been sort of perhaps giving us a rough trot for a fair while, and then again, here we go again. There's another phone call coming from my sister. Oh my God, do I have to? Just delete. I need to protect myself. I need to protect my energy, my vulnerable heart from the attacks, and we all can do it sometimes. The attacks of my sisters, the attacks of my brothers, the attacks of my relatives, my, you know, co-workers and teammates. So for some of us, there may be a need to protect. Now, you'll know if this is the case because this person will have been actively causing you a bit of meh. For a while. It's not going to be a surprise energy. So do protect yourself in that realm. Or if you have a small business, you might need to take some action towards protecting it, making sure that its name, you know, is legit. You know, that you've secured the website domain name or whatever to protect that. Or, you know, you might need to take some action towards protecting some sort of business enterprise, some sort of idea that you've got for business, or some sort of idea for some communication or teaching program or a webinar you want to produce or something like that. You might need to do some active protection of those types of things. And this is the area that you'll be directing your goals and dreams directing your energy into some sort of third house goals and dreams. So it might be that you long to produce, you know, a wonderful webinar, you know, about how to grow jonquils or something. You know, it could be anything, but you want to do this wonderful webinar on how to grow flowers really well, and excuse me, because you've got a fabulous YouTube channel and it's, you know, heaps of followers about gardening and what have you. So you want to produce this webinar and you've got all the energy at your fingertips at this time to be able to put that together. You know, the momentum will be strong, the drive will be, you know, very amped up, and you'll be able to direct energy into developing some sort of business idea or communication technique or teaching opportunity. Maybe, you know, you have a lot of drive and energy to put into perhaps restoring a relationship with a relative or someone who you haven't seen in years, and you know you want to reconnect. So you know there's a lot of energy that could be put to that as well under this. Just do be careful if there's been a bit of a fight, you know, years and years ago, and you reconnect and you just cop an earful again. So be careful. You'll know about your own personal situation and how that's playing out for you and how to best work with that energy. All right, so moving on from Aquarius, and this takes us to very pretty Pisces. Pisces rising, Pisces sun, Pisces moon, either or, but Pisces rising will be the most influentially felt. Well, you will be seeing a lot of action in this regard in your second house, and so you might be receiving some good advice from somebody of noble character or an elite position in society regarding your money, regarding your investments. Okay, so I know there's a lot of action on the stock market and with, gold and silver prices and dollar prices and all that sort of thing. So it's a really good time if you're Pisces rising to maybe get some financial advice from a professional at a very high level, or from somebody that you consider to be a very noble character who wouldn't lead you astray. Get some advice around money, finances, investments, purchases. You might be looking to purchase an art collection or something like that, or get some advice, and you won't go wrong. It will be good advice coming from the influence of the fixed star Acamar. We might also be feeling like we need to protect ourselves in regard to second house things, shoring up our money, making sure that we've got enough for a rainy day, protecting ourselves from the rug being pulled out from under us. Financially might be a priority for Pisces people on this day. That can also be a thing. And we might also find that we need to direct some energy into our goals and dreams regarding our material resources for living. And the second house happens to be the things that we need to survive and thrive and to support our body. So we often think, oh, money, 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 second house. But sometimes it can just be having enough food in the pantry to eat. It can just be making sure that there is enough toilet paper, we're in lockdown where I live in Australia, so toilet paper did become another bit of an issue there, but it's kind of eased off, thank God. But it's these sorts of things. It doesn't have to be big scale. Oh, I'm going to suddenly cash in my stocks for bazillions of dollars. It can be on the small scale thing that we need to direct our energy towards. Do we have enough food in the pantry? Do I have enough blankets for the cold winter nights that we've been having? All that sort of stuff. So you might be directing a lot of energy into something to do with the material resources that support your journey in life, Pisces people, and it might be very prominent for you on this day. But we're talking about energy that goes into our goals. What are your goals regarding the resources that you have, the money that you have, how you are, set up materially in the world? What are your goals about that? Are you achieving your goals? Are your goals, you're wanting to shift the goalposts a bit and go for something else now? Well, under this particular lineup, you'll have a lot of energy to put into achieving those goals on this day and taking the action necessary to get there, to create the material stability and security that you will want in your life. Okay, Aries. My fiery little Aries, who I love very dearly. Aries rising. Sun or moon as well, you can take them all. We're looking, but the rising sign is going to be the most influential. We are looking at this energy of moon conjunct Mars in your first house, and the star Acamar being activated in your first house as well. So what does this mean? Well, you might be receiving some good advice from someone that has to do with this realm of the chart. And what does this realm of the chart have to do with? You. So I would suggest for you Aries rising people, trust your own intuition on this day. Trust your instincts on this day, because your own higher self, the nobility of your higher self will be giving you wisdom on this day. So the rest of us are all looking outside of ourselves for this noble advice about life and about survival, or about our kids, or about, whatever it happens to be. For you guys, for Aries rising, this noble advice is coming from your higher self. It's coming from you. So listen to your heart on this day and do what I was talking about when I was mentioning Venus in Cancer. Take time out for solitude to listen on this day, the 9th of August. Listen, what is my heart telling me? What is my soul really wanting? How am I going in life, thriving and surviving? And listen to the advice that's coming from your higher self, because that is where the best advice comes from. We might also be feeling under this energy that we need to protect ourselves in some way. And what are we protecting ourselves from? Well, it's kind of odd, but you might be protecting yourself from yourself. Again, it's a really good idea to go into solitude if you're Aries rising at some point on this day and think about, how do I self-sabotage? How do I keep myself small? How do I cut myself off from success every time, an opportunity arises and I shoot myself in the foot? How do you do that? And so there you might look at your life through maybe an experience of meditation or solitude or reflection and realize, I need to protect myself from myself in this realm of life. And then there are certain methods that we can use, visualization techniques, affirmations, mantras, sort of uplifting meditations and things like that, that train us out of our self-sabotaging behaviors. And so there might be a call for you to really pay attention to that on this day, and essentially the need to protect yourself from yourself. Okay, so we will also be directing our energy into first house things very strongly on this day as well. What are first house things? Well, how are you surviving in the world? How are you thriving in the world? Well, that's where your energy is going to be directed. You'll be directing your energy very powerfully into feeling not so much safe in the world, feeling like that you are showing up in the world, being seen, having a contribution to make, giving a good impression to the world through just being here. It's the house of our presence in the world, the first house. So you might be directing some goals to being able to do that more effectively in your life, and to so you'll have a lot of energy to survive, to thrive, to create entrepreneurial opportunities for you, because the first house is about our instigations, and instigations that we make into our life that are done independently, not about your collaboration with someone else. We're talking here about your dreams and goals that you instigate, that you put the idea forward and you make it happen. So you'll have a lot of energy to put towards whatever that happens to be. Maybe you have an entrepreneurial or creative idea that you want to start this business or do this piece of creative production, and you'll have all the energy in the world to put towards it under this particular energetic alignment. Okay, so looking now to Taurus rising or sun or moon, but mostly rising is the strongest, the most strongly felt. And so when we have Taurus rising, it's actually putting our Mars, Moon, fixed star Acamar conjunction in the 12th house. So this is the area where you will probably be receiving some advice from a very noble person. Now we say person, and I'm going to put that in inverted commas, because this is the house of the higher entities, of the angels, of the divine realms. So it is for Taurus rising people that you might be receiving some advice from the heavenly realms, from the angels, or even maybe from somebody in your past. So this noble advice, and it will be from somebody of a noble character, not some dodgy ancestor who died 20 years ago and they were a real, it'll be maybe someone from your past who'll come to you in your dreams, someone you esteemed, someone you thought the world of, might come to you in your dreams with some very good advice that comes to you through your dreams. Or it might be somebody of noble character in terms of, you have a past life regression and you meet somebody who you don't even know who they are, but my God, they feel like so familiar to you, and they have words of wisdom and advice to give to you. It might mean, if you're Taurus rising, that you get some sort of good advice from a noble being. You might do some astral travel on this day, or you might do some really serious meditation and receive a message from some divine being, some divine entity who wants to communicate with you on this day. So I would suggest that it's a really great day to do some meditation and getting in touch with the divine realms, because you might just receive a message from the gods that you've been needing. Some people won't even need to sort of actively, mentally pursue that connection. Some people will just be walking down the street and a message will come out of nowhere, like big billboard sign in answer to a question they've had on their heart. Some people might get an animal totem that shows up in their life. Maybe, in Australia, I don't know why lately, but I have just been seeing echidnas everywhere. I remember the first probably 40 years of my life, I don't think I ever saw an echidna in the wild ever. And lately I've seen like 4 or 5 of them. It's miraculous. So what is this animal trying to speak to me about? You might have a similar experience. There might be a message, an omen, a sign from beyond you that is speaking a message to you. What are those animals in their animal totem state saying and speaking to you? So messages from beyond, messages from divine, messages from higher realms. We might feel like we need to protect ourselves regarding 12th house things in some way. So there might be a need for some psychic protection for you guys as Taurus people. And I did mention this when I was talking about those who had this energy in the 6th house. I do have a ceremony. If you feel like you need psychic protection, I do have a ceremony that you can enact to create more psychic protection in your life from the higher energies that we don't want to allow into our life, or you could call them the lower energies if you wanted to. And so if you would like that, go to my website, www.guidingstarrastrology.com, and send me a message and I will forward you that ceremony if you feel that you need it. So we might need some protection from the spiritual realms, and that's the side of spiritual world that isn't perhaps in our best interest in some way. Or we might, not that we are going to be attacked by spiritual realms, but we might feel that we need the protection. We might be feeling a bit like insecure or something. So we need to direct also under this energy direct our energy into our 12th house goals in life. That might be to have a more fulfilling spiritual life. And how would we do that? Well, we protect ourselves from the energies we don't want, and we start focusing on the energies that we do want in the higher spiritual realms. We might direct our energy into sort of receiving divine inspiration from the heavenly realms. This is a very creative house, and with Aries here, that's why Taurus people can be just so creative, because Aries is full of good ideas and starting up new kind of brand new thought processes or brand new ways of doing things here in the 12th house of divinely inspired creativity. What a beautiful combination that you Taurus people carry to have Aries as your 12th house. But it's a day when you have a lot of energy to put into channeling this divine creativity. You might sit down and at your computer ready to write your brand new novel, and boom, it just comes. Oh, keep it coming, heavenly realms. Yep. This story is just writing itself, That kind of energy may very well play out for you on this day. So if you're an artist or a creator, as a lot of you Taurus rising people are, make space to channel that energy on this day, because it will be there for you to access. So that is what we are looking at for Taurus rising people. Now, Gemini rising peeps, sorry guys. Gemini rising people, this energy of Mars conjunct, or Sun or Moon, it's all valid, but the rising sign is the most powerful. The energy of Mars conjunct Moon conjunct fixed star Acamar is falling for you in the 11th house. So it's in this realm that you might be receiving some very wise counsel, because the fixed star Acamar will give that. And it will be from somebody of a noble character or a very high elite level. So friends in that regard would certainly fit this spell. So if you've got friends who are very noble in character, if you've got friends that are very maybe at an elite level of society or an elite level of education or something, in some way at an elite level in some manner, then you'll probably receive a piece of advice or wisdom from them that is very important for your journey. So do have your ears attuned for that to sort of be the case. It's also in the 11th house realms that we might feel we need to protect ourselves at this time. Now, sometimes our friends are of noble character and they're going to give us great advice. Sometimes our friends are not so noble and, might stab us in the back or might really not be the friends that we deserve to have. Maybe they are the friends we deserve to have. But, there are friends and then there are friends. So there might be a need in some way to protect yourself from people who are so-called friends. Or you might need to protect yourself from a group that you've been involved in. Maybe some sort of an activist group that's turned sour, or maybe some sort of a humanitarian, collective organization where you volunteered and it just went a bit off. And so you might feel like you need to protect yourself in that way. Now, if that is the case, and you're feeling like you need protection sort of from energetically from people like that, then contact me via my contact form on www.guidingstar.astrology.com, and I would be very pleased to send you my ceremony of protection energetically that you can utilize. But there are other ways as well, somebody, you've got a friend, she's been bringing you down, you're just sick of her company, she's a pessimist, all she does is complain and you just can't stand it anymore. And you're like, I need to protect myself from that low-level toxic energy. She's ringing me on the phone, delete. Simple as that. That's a protection mechanism, You don't have to go and do big ceremonies. You can if you feel you need it. But sometimes it's just about putting a boundary in place and taking action to protect yourself. And you probably will feel in some way that you need to do that, maybe with some friends or a group of friends or an organization or something that you're involved in. But you'll also be very keen on directing your energy into the 11th house of dreams and goals on this day. Now, whatever it is that you aspire to do, whatever sort of level of notoriety or success or reward or accolade that you want, you'll have what it takes on this day to put energy into achieving that. So let's say you want to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, on this day, get into it. You've got the drive, the energy to find that great discovery that's going to put you on the map, It's a day for really enthusiastically pursuing your dreams and goals, whatever they may be, because you'll get there faster utilizing the powerful energy of this day that will amp you up. All right, Gemini people, thank you. And for Cancer rising people, or sun or moon, love you gorgeous Cancerians. This energy, now remember the rising signs are most important, but you can look at sun or moon. This energy is falling in your 10th house, Mars, Moon, conjunct fixed star Acamar. What does this mean? On this day, we might be receiving some very worthwhile advice, very supportive advice from somebody who is very noble of character. That could be a boss, that could be an authority figure who's very noble, who is trustworthy, and someone who's sort of elite in some way. So look, it could be somebody you personally know, but it could be somebody online. It could be somebody on YouTube. It could be somebody's Patreon account that you follow. It could be somebody's some preacher perhaps not in this state, preacher in a pulpit, but somebody who's a very well-known public speaker that you come across. You receive some piece of advice from this person of high level, elite, noble character, whatever platform it's coming to you from, and that is a worthwhile source of information that's going to support you on your journey under this energy, because Acamar is the star of nobility and giving good advice. And so it's in the 10th house for you, and it's being activated. You will receive some wise counsel from somebody at a high level of authority. Not only that, but we're going to feel in some manner like we need to protect ourselves in the 10th house realm. So that might look like you feeling like you need to protect yourself. Well, maybe not even yourself, maybe your career in some way. You need to protect your career. That might be the energy that you're feeling here, or protect a legacy that you have created. I mean, think about it. Maybe if you were Vincent van Gogh and you had the most amazing collection of art ever done, and you decided, I think I need to protect all these paintings. I'm gonna hire a lock-up waterproofed shed and put all my paintings in there under padlock and lock and key, because I think I need to protect them. That's my legacy that I've created. I think they need protection. The 10th house is our legacy as well as our career and worldly achievements. So in some way you'll be wanting to protect that legacy, protect that career, protect that achievement that you have accomplished. Maybe you've got a line of Oscars sitting up on the fireplace mantle, and you're like, getting the feeling that that particular achievements, those achievements, I need to sort of put them in a glass cabinet under a padlock rather than sitting out there on the mantle. Yeah, I might do that, So it's about feeling like we need to protect our worldly achievements, protect our career. Again, I'm not saying that you should go out and backstab someone who's vying for your position at work. That would be a bad move. Your karma would not be very nice. So there are ways and mechanisms to protect your career and your position and your notoriety and your success and your social status without having to stomp all over others. And I would encourage you to do that. But you may need to protect your social status under this influence in some way too. You might be trying to up-level your social status in the workplace by trying to get a promotion or trying to get more recognition for a project that you've done. So either way, whatever your legacy you want to create or the social status you want to be known for and receive, whatever it's connected to, you will have a lot of energy to put to that under this influence. So thank you, beautiful Cancerians and Leo people. My beautiful lovely Leo suns, because the sun is in your sign right now doing wonderful things for us all. This is putting the energy of Mars, Moon and Acamar fixed star conjunction in your 9th house if you are a Leo sun rising, but mostly it will play out most effectively for those of us who are moon, sun or rising sign. So it's in the 9th house that you will be receiving good advice, Leos. So somebody of noble character, fixed star Acamar getting activated, somebody of noble character or an elite level of leadership perhaps, will give you some good advice on this day. Now that might be in person. You might meet with maybe a spiritual leader or in your environment, or some sort of inspirational figure, 9th house sort of guru type figure. You might meet with someone in person who gives you some wise advice. Or someone who's just, you feel like a bit above you in sort of their respectability. They might give you some wise advice. But it could also come through other means, some inspirational figure. You listen to a talk by Eckhart Tolle, or you tune into a session with Thich Nhat Hanh or something like that. Somebody who is a leader in spiritual circles who gives you some inspiration. Somebody of noble character, somebody of elite status in spiritual or religious fields who gives you some inspiring words that change your life on this day. It's also in 9th house realms that we might feel we need to protect ourselves. Now, this can manifest in terms of, there might be some of us who are exposed to religious leaders who do not have our best interest in mind and who are actually not working to support our journey. You'll know who these people are. It's not going to be like the person of noble character who's giving you inspirational words, because that will come from somebody that you esteem. This religious leader that I'm talking about that you may need to protect yourself from on this day will have been showing those signals already of being a bit untrustworthy or a bit dodgy or a bit too egoic or whatever. You will have picked up on this already. And then along comes this day and you're like, you know what? I just need to switch off. I'm not going to listen to this person talk anymore. They don't do it for me. Their wisdom is skewed. So you turn off that YouTube talk, or you don't attend that virtual church service that you were attending. Or you choose to sort of unsubscribe from the YouTube channel that they have, because you just feel, I need to protect myself. I don't think their energy, their spiritual teaching, their particular brand of belief is right for me. So there's going to be a need to protect yourself somehow from some sort of inspirational figure in maybe a religious or a spiritual sense, or a philosophical sense as well, or somebody who teaches higher wisdom that just isn't really cutting the mustard for you any longer. And finally, this is the 9th house, and this is where you will be directing a lot of energy into pursuing dreams and goals. Maybe, Leo people, you might be thinking, you want to be an inspirational figure someday, or you want to travel the world, speaking, teaching, being the master that people come and listen to. Maybe that's your thing, your aspiration, your goal. And Mars conjunct Moon, conjunct Acamar on this day gives you the impetus to make that happen. You set out on the road. You start working towards that dream or that goal of being that inspiring person, that uplifter of humanity, and you get cracking on it. Or maybe you have a dream or goal to travel someday, or to go and sit drinking a latte on the Amalfi Coast, one of my dreams, and that's one of your aspirations. And so you start putting together what needs to be done to get there someday when the world goes back to traveling again. You start to put some energy and momentum into that dream, that goal of traveling, going to other cultures, seeing the world. Or maybe it's you have a goal of achieving a university degree or getting some sort of higher knowledge or a certificate in something or some sort of wisdom. And so you put some energy towards that as well, and you have what it takes on this day to really put some momentum into it. We have the energy on the 9th of August, it will be, to put towards the achieving of our dreams and goals that are 9th house related. We all have many dreams and goals too, but these will be the 9th house related ones. So that's what we're seeing in the skies this week. What an adventurous little journey around the horoscope. Thank you so much for joining me for this. We're going to close, as I always do each week, with a prayer. Energy of love in the universe. It is an exciting time to be alive. It's also a difficult time to be alive. And so we invite in your beauty, your energy to be with us all as we navigate the difficulties and we celebrate the joys of what we're seeing as an up-leveling of human consciousness, as people wake up, as people realize what life is really all about. And we thank you for the way human beings have put life ahead of money this year, people ahead of money. But we ask for support for those who are suffering right now through the loss of employment and jobs and resources that they need to support their body's journey. So be with us all to support one another, to love one another, and to be representatives of divine loving energy on this earth. And so it is. Well, thank you so much for joining me for today's Astro Weather. I will have another Astro Weather report for you next week. Till then, enjoy the weather and I'll catch you then.